We are starting the second account of creation. We had the first account on Monday and Tuesday. Today, and as we go forward, we'll be hearing the second account. It's not an either-or. It's often with Catholic theology, it's never usually an either-or. It's a both-and. And so once again, this is talking about creation symbolically. And this time, it speaks about the earth already being there, and man being the first one created, and after man, the plants, and then the animals. And again, God has given man dominion over the Garden of Eden, to cultivate and to care for it. And it's not a hard thing, it's not a burden for him, because before sin, work isn't a burden. He is cooperating with God. He is working alongside God. And he is in complete union. He is in harmony with God. He's in harmony with himself. You know, how many of us are completely in harmony with ourselves? I don't think anybody is, apart from those who are perfect. The Lord Jesus, for instance. So, harmony with himself, harmony with others, and harmony with nature. And so, what he was doing was a work of harmony. And God, in his creation of Adam, makes him as I said right at the beginning, as we began this Mass, he is a physical being. He creates him out of the dust of the earth, and spiritual. But it's not physical and spiritual, two different things. They are one thing. He is physical and spiritual as a person, as a whole. It is not two different things. It is one thing together. And so this is who he is in creation, and God has put the trees of life and the trees of knowledge of good and evil in the garden. And right at the beginning, there are no laws. God has given man complete freedom to do anything apart from one thing. There's only one law, really, at the end of the day. Don't go near that tree. That's the law. Don't touch that tree. You can do anything else. You've got complete freedom. Anything you want. Anything. But just don't go and eat from that tree. And of course, we know what happens, and we'll hear about that on Friday. What happens, and you know the result of what happens. You know, Jesus is speaking about sin, how it comes from within, and we're hearing from this in this text about Adam being master of creation, master of the garden, to care for the earth, to master it. And that mastery is actually dependent on his own self-mastery. He can do it, he can master creation, what is out there, when he is able to master what is in here. What is in here. And things go awry when he ceases to master what is in here. I'm just going to read a small piece from the Catechism, which I discovered, which I was directed to, which I thought was interesting for you. So it says, the mastery over the world that God offered man from the beginning was realized above all from within man himself, his mastery of self. The first man was unimpaired and ordered in his whole being, because he was free from the triple concupiscence. Concupiscence is our inclination to sin, our leaning towards our almost penchant for sin. Triple concupiscence, three ways in which we lean towards sin. So the first is subjugates him, the first concupiscence subjugates him to the pleasures of the senses. We see it, we like it, we want it. There's a feeling, an emotion, or our body tells us something, and instead of mastering that, we incline ourselves to do what our senses, our feelings, our emotions, our flesh tells us to do. The second one is covetousness for earthly goods. I see it and I want it. I want that new car. I want that house. I want that person. And it's to possess, to possess, to possess. One is the senses. The second one is to possess. And the third one, self-assertion, contrary to the dictates of reason. I want power. I want to assert my authority. I want to be something that actually, when you think about it properly, is really not quite on. Self-mastery. He masters Eden, the garden, when he's able to master himself. He is told not to touch the tree. And as we hear, the self-mastery breaks down as he sees and his senses desire, as he sees and he wants to possess. And he sees and he wants not only possess the thing, but to put himself in a position that is not his. And so these things come from within. This is where sin begins. It's not outside. Adam had that choice not to sin. He lived in complete union with God. We too have that choice. You have that choice. And every day you can make the choice of obedience, a choice of submission to God's will. You and I, we can do that. We can do that with God's grace. With God's grace, everything is possible. How important it is for us to submit to God's grace, to submit to God and ask for his grace to do that.